Soft light slipped through the curtains, touching Yin's face. Her lash fluttered, heavy from the tears that had dried there. For a moment, she forgot where she was, then the ache from last night returned, sharp and real. Before she could sink into it again, she felt the warm brush of lips against her forehead. Her eyes opened to see Taehyung leaning over her, hair still damp from his shower, his white shirt clinging lightly to his shoulders. He looked at her like she was the only thing that mattered. "Good morning," he murmured softly, thumb grazing her cheek. "Did you sleep at all?" She only gave a faint nod, her throat still tight. Taehyung leaned closer, resting his forehead gently against hers. "Why, Eunha, whatever I'm going to do from now on, it's for us. For you, me, and our children. I hope you'll understand, Her heart clenched at the weight in his voice. She swallowed, whispering, "I trust you, Tae." Her nod was small but certain, even if her eyes still held fear. His lips curved into the faintest smile, though his eyes were stormy with thoughts. He pressed another kiss to her forehead, lingering this time, as though he needed the strength of her presence before stepping out into the world that had just betrayed them. "Good girl," he whispered, so soft it was almost a secret. Later, Yun found herself alone at the dressing table, her fingers trembling as she brushed her hair. Taehyung's scent still lingered in the room, warm and grounding, but her heart ached with worrying. She caught her reflection in the mirror, her face pale, eyes swollen from crying. She let out a shaky breath. How could people change so suddenly, or had they always been this way? And she was just blind because she wanted a mother so badly, her hand stilled on her hairbrush. Somewhere down the hall, she could faintly hear footsteps. Taehyung's, firm and measured. He was already moving, already planning. The image of him, composed and unreadable after his shower, replayed in her mind. What is he going to do? But when she closed her eyes, she remembered the strength in Taehyung's arms last night, and the way his voice didn't waver when he said, "I see you. I love you. I will protect you." It was the only thing that gave her the courage to whisper into the empty room, "I trust you, Tae." The clinking of silverware was the only sound at first, the four of them seated around the polished table. Yun gripped her fork tightly, trying to steady her breath. Mrs. Kim was the first to break the silence, her voice smooth but carrying weight. "You didn't tell us about your arrival last night, Yun." Mr. Kim nodded, sipping his tea. "Yes, we only got to know this morning." Taehyung set his cup down with an easy calm. "We were tired, just wanted to sleep," Mrs. Kim hummed, her eyes flicking between them. Then she asked casually, almost too casually, "So, when is the good news?" The fork in Yun's hand tightened until her knuckles whitened. She froze, breath caught. Taehyung's lips curved into a smile, but it wasn't light, it was sharp. "Actually, I wanted to tell you something." Mr. Kim looked up. "What is it?" Taehyung leaned back in his chair, gaze steady. "We're leaving tomorrow morning." Mrs. Kim's smile faltered. "Where? New York," Tae replied simply. Mr. Kim frowned. Suddenly, Taehyung's tone remained calm, but his words cut deep. "I started a business there 2 years ago. It was going well, but there's been a sudden loss. My finance team is trying, but I need to be there as the CEO." Yun's heart pounded. She stared at him, wide-eyed. "New York, he's really doing this. He's taking me away." Mrs. Kim's fork clattered softly against her plate. "Then you go." "Yun will stay here with us." Yun's chest tightened painfully. Her pulse spiked. "No, not here. Not again. Please, don't leave me here." But Taehyung's voice sliced through her panic. "No, Mom, Y stays where husband stays. I don't know if it'll take 3 months, 8 months, or a year, but I can't leave my wife here." Mrs. Kim leaned forward, her tone sweet, manipulative. "She lived here before too. She can. Right, Yun?" Yun's lips parted, but no sound came. Her throat locked. Taehyung's hand slammed lightly against the table, his voice firm. "No." "Don't start with your manipulation," Mrs. Kim gasped. eyes narrowing. What nonsense are you saying to your mother? Tae's jaw tightened. No, we have decided. We are leaving. No more arguments, Mr. Kim's voice boomed. But Taehyung cut him off, steel in his eyes. No, Dad, that's not how this works. I told you I'm informing you. I'm not asking permission from anyone to leave or to take my wife with me. Mrs. Kim's eyes shimmered with sudden tears as she turned to Why and how will we live alone? Taehyung rolled his eyes, his voice cold. Lunat, Mrs. Kim clutched her chest, her voice cracking. Soon she'd be pregnant. It's not good to stay alone. You'll be at work all day. Who will take care of her? Mr. Kim nodded. Yes, she needs us. Taehyung's smile this time was almost mocking, calm but deliberate. She's not going to be pregnant anytime soon. Mrs. Kim's face drained of color. What? Well, Tae continued, his hand sliding over Y, and trembling one under the table, grounding her. We want to build a healthy relationship first. Repair it, strengthen it. There's no need to bring a child in between. Mrs. Kim shook her head furiously. No, Tae, that's not how it works. A child strengthens a relationship. Taehyung's voice turned firm, unshakable. No, we want our relationship strengthened by love, trust, and understanding. Not by pressure, not by expectation. The tension was unbearable. Mrs. Kim's voice rose. That's not how it works. And then, enough, the word ripped out of Wyan as she clutched her ears, eyes squeezed shut. Tears welled as her chest heaved with broken breaths. The room froze, forks stilled, chairs creaked in shock. Her voice trembled, but it carried through the suffocating silence. Stop it. Just stop. I can't. Her eyes darted between them, pleading, breaking. The family breakfast had turned into a battlefield, and Wyan was the one bleeding the most. Wyan's hand tightened around Taehyung's under the table, her nails almost digging into his skin. She rose slowly, voice trembling at first, but gaining strength with each word. Wyan, we are leaving. That's it. Mrs. Kim's lips curved into that too smooth smile. Mrs. Kim, bye. No, why? And don't say it like that. We're not stopping you, sweetheart, but you know, why? Then cutting in, voice firm. No, Mom, no more discussions. I want to be with my husband. I hope I have that right, don't I? The room stilled. Taehyung's heart slammed against his ribs at the steel in her tone. Mrs. Kim's eyes shimmered, the perfect mask of hurt. Mrs. Kim, we don't want to stop you, darling, but... Taehyung warning, Mom, no manipulations, please. I beg you, we are leaving. No one can stop us. We will visit you, but if you play dirty again, I swear, I'll never come back, and I'll never let Wyan come back. You'll never see your grandchildren, Mr. Kim, Taehyung. But before the argument could ignite again, Wyan leaned forward, eyes burning, and shattered their rhythm. Wyan, no, Mom, we're not acting strange. We just want to be together. Isn't that what you always said you wanted? For us to live happily as a couple. Wyan soft but sharp, we want to live as a normal couple. Isn't that what you wished for us? Please, Mom, we know you love us. You're not our enemy. You'd never want to stand in the way of our happiness. Right? Her words were sugar-coated knives. Even Taehyung blinked at her, stunned at how she was playing their game on them. Mr. Kim cleared his throat, forcing a smile. Mr. Kim, of course, if that's what you want. You have all our blessings. Mrs. Kim, her jaw tight, stood up and wrapped Wyan in a stiff hug. Wyan let herself melt into it, whispering just loud enough for the table to hear. Wyan, I knew you loved us, Mom. Behind her shoulder, Taehyung's eyes glistened with something fierce, admiration, pride, and a burning promise to protect the woman who had just turned the battlefield in their favor. The bedroom door clicked shut behind them. Taehyung leaned back against it, running a hand through his hair, his expression torn between shock and amusement. Taehyung, low voice, almost to himself. God, who are you, woman? Wyan crouched over the open suitcase, carefully folding clothes. looked up with a proud little smile. Why in, your wife? He shook his head, laughing in disbelief as he walked toward her. Taehyung, no, really, you played them. You turned their game against them like it was nothing. Wyan smoothed the dress and tucked it into the bag, her smile firm but soft. Wyan, I had to tell, if I'm not strong now, then in the future. Anyone could step on our children like that. I can't allow it. Her words landed heavy, and for a moment Taehyung just stared at her, eyes full of pride, admiration, but also a flicker of fear at the fire she carried inside. Slowly, he bent down in front of her and bowed his head. Taehyung voiced deep, playful, but serious. I fear you, Kim Hwa-eun. Wyan blinked, then broke into laughter, the sound ringing through the room. She grabbed a folded dress and tossed it onto his head. Wyan, idiot. Taehyung pulled the dress off slowly, his lips curling into a smirk, eyes narrowing as he leaned closer. Taehyung teasing, you just threw your dress on me. Are you trying to flirt, Mrs. Kim? Wyan's cheeks heated up as she rolled her eyes, but her smile betrayed her. Wyan, pack the bags, flirt later. Taehyung grinning, moving closer. No, no. I think I like this side of you. Strong, fierce. And still shy when I tease you. Wyan shoved at his shoulder, laughing while he caught her wrist and kissed the back. Taehyung was sprawled on the bed, phone in hand, thumbs tapping lazily as he played a game, lips curled into that smug little half smile of his. Wyan hands on hips. Tae, get up and pack your stuff, or at least tell me what to pack for you. Without even looking up, he smirked. Taehyung, no need. I'm taking my everything with me. His eyes slid sideways, catching hers with a mischievous glint. Wyan froze, blinking in confusion. Wyan, everything, and then it clicked. Her done face said it all as she muttered under her breath. Wyan, unbelievable. Taehyung chuckled, finally locking his phone and tossing it aside, enjoying the way realization colored her cheeks. Wyan pointing a finger at him. Tae, one last time. Be serious. He stretched, folding his arms behind his head, voice smooth and playful. Taehyung, relax. Wifey, I already have everything there. Just put my laptop and charger in. That's it. The word wifey slipped out so casually, but it sent Wyan's heart racing. She spun around quickly to hide her face, rushing to pack his things, but the pink blooming on her cheeks betrayed her. The word wifey slipped out so casually, but it sent Wyan's heart racing. She spun around quickly to hide her face, rushing to pack his things, but the pink blooming on her cheeks betrayed her. Her fingers fumbled slightly as she tucked his laptop into the bag. Taehyung smirked knowingly, watching her from the bed, his voice low and teasing. Taehyung, careful, wifey, don't break my laptop. Wyan's hands stilled. She pressed her lips together, cheeks heating up even more. Wyan without turning, trying to sound stern. Shut up, Tae. He grinned, loving every second of her flustered state. Wyan zipped his bag shut, deliberately ignoring the smug aura radiating off the man sprawled behind her. But before she could step away, a strong hand wrapped around her wrist, tugging her back. She stumbled slightly, landing against his chest. Taehyung softly, near her ear. You know. I really like calling you wifey. Her breath caught, her heart racing at the warmth of his words. She tilted her head up, only to find his deep brown eyes fixed on her, filled with that mix of mischief and tenderness that always left her weak. Wyan trying to act unfazed, voice low. Tae. Don't start, Taehyung grinning, brushing a strand of hair from her face. Why not? It suits you, my wifey. My everything. Wyan's cheeks burned as his thumb lingered at her jawline, gentle yet possessive. Her hands pressed lightly against his chest as if to push him away, but she didn't move. Wyan muttering, You're impossible. Taehyung leaning closer, his nose brushing hers, voice teasing but full of affection. And you're mine. So deal with it, her lips parted. But before she could answer, he placed a feather-like kiss at the corner of her mouth, so quick yet so electrifying that her knees almost gave out. He leaned back, smirking at her dazed expression. Taehyung, now hurry up, wifey. We've got a flight to catch. Whyun swatted at his arm with a blush, but her lips curved into a smile she couldn't hide. Hand in hand, fingers tightly locked, they walked side by side. Every now and then, and some would brush over his knuckles, a silent reassurance. Taehyung glanced at her, his lips curving into the smallest smile, his cheeks tinged pink. Taehyung softly, you're not nervous anymore. Whyun turned her face toward him, a faint blush painting her cheeks too. Whyun, not when you're here. That answer made his heart skip. He squeezed her hand tighter, pulling her closer so their shoulders brushed. As they reached the boarding gate, Taehyung leaned a little toward her ear. Taehyung teasing, but warm, you know. This feels like the real beginning, doesn't it? Whyun's lips curved into a shy smile. Whyun nodding, a new chapter, just us. He didn't care about the curious glances of strangers. He lifted their joined hands and kissed the back of her palm tenderly. Whyun's face heated instantly, but she didn't pull away. She only leaned her head against his shoulder as they waited to board. No awkwardness, no distance, just blooming love, soft and certain. And with that, they stepped forward, hand in hand, ready to write their own story far from anyone else's shadows. New York apartment, late afternoon, the sound of childish giggles echoed through the living room. Little Eunha, now when you're in 5 months, sat on the floor with a colored pen clutched tightly in her chubby hand. Her baby babbles filled the air as she scribbled across the white wall in loops and random strokes. Eunha gibberish, babo, da. Whyun, stepping out from the kitchen with a towel in hand, froze, her eyes widened. Whyun screaming, Eunha, not the wall. Oh my god, Taehyung, do something. Taehyung was sprawled on the couch, laptop open on his knees. He glanced up once, then back down at his screen with a small smirk. Taehyung calmly, under his breath, ague. Little Picasso, Eunha looked at him with sparkling eyes, as if she understood, and clapped her tiny hands before going back to scribbling. Whyun stormed forward, ready to snatch the pen, but before she could, Eunha let out a loud giggle and bolted her version of running, which was more like a wobbly, quick little toddle. Taehyung laughed, closing his laptop, watching his daughter escape. He leaned back, whispering softly with so much love in his eyes, Taehyung murmuring, yeah, my little artist. Eunha, hearing his voice, turned her head and squealed with joy, falling right into his arms. He scooped her up effortlessly, bouncing her on his lap. Taehyung grinning, did you have fun, baby? Making masterpieces already. Eunha giggled, babbling nonsense again as she tugged on his shirt collar. But before the warm scene could melt Whyun's frustration, she marched over and grabbed Taehyung's ear, giving it a little twist. Whyun fuming, KIMTAEHYUNG, how dare you just sit and watch while she ruined the wall. Taehyung winced dramatically, still holding his giggling daughter. Taehyung pleading, ow, oh, not the ear. Save me, Eunha, save your daddy. Eunha, amused by the chaos, clapped and squealed louder, enjoying the show. Whyun scolding, you're spoiling her. Every time she does something naughty, you encourage it. Taehyung grinning through the pain, I'm not spoiling her. I'm appreciating her talent. Look, gestures at the wall covered in random colorful lines. That's abstract art. Maybe she's a genius. Whyun rolling her eyes. A genius who's going to repaint this apartment, maybe? Eunha babbled again, pressing her little forehead against Taehyung's cheek. He softened instantly, kissing her tiny hand before looking up at Whyun with a mischievous smile. Taehyung teasing, don't be jealous, wifey. She clearly gets her artistic side from me. Whyun crossed her arms, glaring, but the corner of her lips betrayed her with a smile. Whyun, she gets her troublemaking side from you, that's for sure. Taehyung laughed, pulling Whyun closer with one arm while balancing Eunha with the other. Eunha clapped happily, caught in between her parents' banter, her baby voice filling the room with gibberish. The little family, playful arguments and all, was perfectly messy and perfectly theirs. After the wall disaster, Hyeon had finally managed to scrub most of the scribbles off, though faint streaks of red and blue were still visible. She sighed, exhausted, as she walked into the kitchen only to freeze again. There stood Taehyung, apron loosely tied around his waist, humming while stirring a pot on the stove. And in his arms, little Eunha, perched comfortably on his hip, holding a wooden spoon almost bigger than her tiny arm. Why in disbelief? Taehyung, no. Tell me she's not helping you cook. Taehyung looked over his shoulder, grin wide. Taehyung proudly, correction, our little chef is leading the kitchen tonight. Eunha banged the wooden spoon against the counter, making a loud thunk-thunk, then burst into bubbly giggles. Why in pinching her forehead? This house is going to burn down because of you too. Taehyung playfully gasping, wifey, how dare you doubt us? Look at this, he lifted the spoon in Eunha's hand like a trophy. This is teamwork, Eunha babbling, ba-ba-da-da. Taehyung nodding seriously. Exactly, baby. See, even she agrees. Hyeon shook her head, but couldn't help the smile tugging at her lips as she leaned against the counter, arms crossed. Hyeon, she doesn't even have teeth to half of what you're cooking. Taehyung teasing, stepping closer with Eunha. But she has my heart, and apparently my cooking skills. Hyeon rolled her eyes, but her cheeks turned pink when Taehyung leaned down, brushing a soft kiss against her temple before whispering, Taehyung, don't be jealous, Joggy. There's enough love for both of you. Eunha, sensing her daddy's mushy tone, smacked his cheek with her tiny palm, making Taehyung burst into laughter. Taehyung laughing, yeah, baby, don't expose me like that in front of mommy. Hyeon finally cracked, laughing too, and took Eunha into her arms. The little girl cuddled into her chest, babbling happily. Hyeon softly kissing Eunha's hair. This house really is too small for two troublemakers. Taehyung wrapping his arms around both, resting his chin on Hyeon's shoulder. Then we'll just make it bigger, more mess, more laughter. More love. Hyeon's heart softened as she leaned into him, the smell of dinner filling the kitchen, their daughter's giggles echoing like the sweetest music. The night air was cool, carrying the faint scent of flowers from the garden below. The city lights twinkled in the distance as Hyeon and Taehyung sat on the balcony, coffee cups in hand. Eunha had finally fallen asleep after a playful evening, leaving the house in a rare hush. Hyeon's gaze lingered on her coffee, her fingers tracing the rim of the cup. Hyeon softly, Tae. Mom called. Almost instantly, she felt his warmth against her back as Taehyung slid behind her, wrapping his arms firmly around her waist and resting his chin on her shoulder. Taehyung, but they lost the trust. Hyeon, I don't know if it's real. Or just another manipulation. Hyeon tilted her head, giving him space to nuzzle into her neck. His lips brushed her skin lightly, distracting, tender. Taehyung reluctant, I'll check my schedule. Take out some time. Then we'll leave for Seoul. Hyeon's eyes softened, but her heart twisted at his tone. Hyeon quietly, you're saying this because of me, not because you want to go. Hyeon's lips curved faintly as she tilted her head more, giving him space, her silence speaking louder than words. She wanted to continue, but the way his breath tickled her skin, the way he clearly wanted to dismiss it, made her let go of the subject for now. The two of them stood there quietly, swaying slightly, his arms strong and grounding, the night wrapping around them like a blanket.